Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for the reissue of the live stream from earlier. I am so sorry to both you, Norm, and also everyone else who was here last time, like, I don't know, an hour ago. I stuffed, and it was on me. I stuffed up the time. So Norm specifically said Pacific time, and I was like, "Oh, it's the same as Eastern time, right?" So I put in my little converter, and I was like, "Yeah, we're good to go." Anyway, we're here now. I apologize. So a huge thank you to everyone who's come back. We already have 73 people, and we've only just started. So massive thank you to all of you amazing people. But Norm is here. Norm, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thanks for making the time. It's a global audience, Justin. That's why you have to manage all these time zones. But I've been looking forward to this all week, and yeah,
Hey.
this is a lot of fun. Can't wait to talk about 6-scale figures, Hot Toys, and all the others. And I don't have too many people in IRL that I can chat with about this. So most of the time, it's just head buried on Reddit and in forums. So this is fun.
Yeah. I think we're the same in that regard. The whole reason why I started the channel to begin with was literally nobody that I know here in Australia collects figures. Like it's just a non-thing. And then when I started the channel and I started meeting people, it just became a whole lot more fun. Because you're right, I look forward to the live streams the most. It's my favorite part of the week because we get to sit down, we get to chill, and we get to talk about figures where otherwise we wouldn't be able to do that. So I'm right there with you. We also have the amazing Will. Will, thank you for joining us.
Yes,
again.
Thank you for having me,
From
Justin.
earlier.
And I'm so excited.
Hey, it's Will from earlier.
It's Will from earlier. I was here. I'm a reissue. I'm a reissue as well. And I love the Norm's here. And
Wow.
Norm has exclamation point in his name. There's just so much excitement with Norm. I love everything about it. So it's going to be a blast. So, and yes, I am in fact a reissue. So it's fun.
Yes.
Wow. Not a remake though, well, just a 2.0.
Not a remake, just a straight up reissue.
Like
a General Grievous.
No new sculpts.
Wow, yeah, no new sculpts. The same sculpts. Just a little more facial hair, but that's
2021 on the box though.
Exactly.
Yes.
Slightly more facial hair. That's about it though. That's the only change to the sculpt.
Wow. I do want to say a massive hello to everyone in the chat. We do have the Flash, DK, Gabriella. Will is also in the chat, and he's here in the stream. Maybe it's the second Will, maybe it's the same Will. Who knows? We do have Apu, Rirum, and Latoya is in the house. Latoya, how are you? So a massive thank you to all of you. We will be answering chats as we are going, I am sure. Well, I would like to discuss something that I know you are very passionate about, Norm. I've only just recently started getting into diorama stuff. So never before was I really all that interested in it. I was like, oh, the figures come how they come and they go in the display. But as I started to accumulate more figures, they started to just sort of all blend in. And I wanted something that would help each figure be in their element. And I know I saw your Mysterio video on the prism that you made, and it was fantastic. So my question to you is, what got you started on the diorama stuff? Or is that something that you've always wanted to do with your figures and you just started doing? Because I know we're all working from home, so we've got a little bit more time on our hands.
Yeah, I think it's a combination. I mean, I think everyone collects for different reasons. Like I've talked before how, you know, I love these. One, like the facial sculpts are amazing. The cut and sew is amazing. It allows me to appreciate, you know, the costuming for these characters I love so much. And the posability, right? That's like, yeah, I love some of the figures that have, you know, the articulate, the armatured, steel armatured bodies and posing them, understanding the anatomy, and then really like fulfilling the figure's purpose in my collection. Is it going to be in a museum pose on the shelf? And there are plenty that are, or, you know, what am I going to do with these? And so for me, it's photographing them. It's like posing them. It's putting them in the scenarios that I visualize in my head, like just kind of, you know, how I have envisioned these characters when reading comic books or watching the films. And I think it's when I get more than two figures together, I want to put them in a place. I want to put them not just in the light box, even though they look great in the light box. And so dioramas, like there are some great off-the-shelf stuff, right? Prefab stuff you can make. Some of them come with grid bases. There's some that just that have, like the Star Wars stuff. You can they have their look. The older Star Wars stuff with the backdrops. I think when I first saw some of the Star Wars ones with that classic Imperial backlit,
I love that light up piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I love it.
That's great, and it doesn't need to be like an endless diorama, right? I actually like it when it's like almost like a cross section carved out of that world. And so whenever I get a figure and I want to make a video on it, it's not just showing the figure, because you guys do a great job. I'm going to watch your videos if I want to know all the ins and outs of, what the unboxing process is like, all that you get so early, and it helps me build up my excitement for when I get them. But when I get them and I start posting them, I'm like, okay, what world do I see it envisioned in? And sometimes it's like the world right out of the comics or the movies, and sometimes I'm like mixing and matching. It's like whatever, I'm going to put a nebula with Kaneda's bike from Akira, right? And it's like Ready Player One-esque, right? It's like pop culture, like fusion.
Yeah.
And I have laser cutter, I got 3D printers, and it's just like, okay, I can start making some stuff. The Mysterio one was something I always wanted to do with the one-way mirror. Actually, I had it in mind to do it for Doctor Strange.
We'll see a
mirror dimension.
That display was hot. Yes, I love it too. It looked awesome.
And that fits it almost like in its own museum display. I can put it, in my living room. I can put it in my office. It's like it doesn't need to interact with any other figure. It's self-contained. And I did one with Spider-Man, making like a billboard sign right out of the movie poster.
I love that.
And that was a lot of fun. And it's like it's the things that I know, a company may not necessarily make, or if they're going to make it, I'll buy a throne for Thanos or Black Panther. I don't have the 3D modeling shops necessarily to make that, but if the puzzle pieces fit together and I'm like, okay, I at my skill level can fabricate something that can fit appropriately for this, then I'm going to go all in. And there's so many good resources out there for electronics, for teaching 3D printing and laser cutting. And so I've just been kind of eating all that up and practicing with these figures.
I know that some of your videos, so I also now own a resin printer thanks to some of your videos, actually. I'm still noob level, but I did 3D print a full 1/6 scale Dark Trooper, and it's articulated.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I would get it, but it's unfortunately some of the tolerances, I have to tighten up some of the joints. He's a bit floppy, but he does stand, and he's got the presence of a 1/6 scale Dark Trooper. So not only diorama stuff, but if you have 3D printers, people are making 1/6 scale clones now. In fact, there's a whole group that makes 1/6 scale 3D printable clone files, including some of the hardest stuff to find, which are like feet and hands. That's almost impossible to find good 3D models that are compatible with bodies, off-the-shelf bodies. And you can join Facebook groups now that have that. So there's a real resurgence of people making stuff now that we have more time to do that. And I love that. But
it's accessible too. I mean,
it is.
There's like a little bit of a learning curve, but because there's so many people with great YouTube channels out there teaching people and great communities online, helping you troubleshoot. Resin printing, I'm impressed because it's not an easy step to jump into. There's a lot of post-processing. It's very intoxicating, messy, right? Yeah, but it's rewarding because fidelity, right? Like a lot of people, professionals, if they're model makers, if they're working in a special effects business, they're using the same stuff. When you see a costume in a film, a lot of times those hard parts, armor parts, are 3D printed, but they spend the time finishing it and add some post-processing and the post-production effects, but it's the same fabrication. They're not, it might look like it's machine metal or titanium or something, but that's movie magic.
Yeah, absolutely. And now you can also buy, there are companies making more and more diorama pieces, and I've been reviewing Toys Box pieces. This right here is a piece from Toys Box. It's the stairs from the Joker. So I had my unlicensed Joker by Toys Era on this display base. But the cool thing is, if you remove the pole, you have a manhole cover that will cover the hole in the display base. Like, that's some next level thinking that's been going on there. They're like, oh, we don't want to have a hole in the base, so we're going to cover it up with the manhole. I love that. So Toys Box, if you're interested in dioramas, Toys Box. Check them out. They do amazing diorama pieces.
What'd you think of that? I think I saw your review. There was a Batman Armory, right? Was it Z
Oh,
Studios? I want to say, yeah.
yes.
How was that? Yeah, I was looking
That
at
thing
that.
is huge. It is
Yeah,
so big. It is so heavy, but it has a presence. Like, it's
yeah,
hard to describe. Like, you saw the suit inside has so
right.
much texture and so much detail, and it looks better, in my opinion, than the actual figure because it doesn't have to move. So they can make
Hmm.
it so much more accurate and so much more textured and detailed. That thing has a presence, and the lights. Yeah, I love that. I don't currently have it on display anywhere in here, but when I have my module case, it is 100% going in. 100%.
And
I
that
love
tell like for people who love Batman, and I confess, like I don't even have like I came back late to collecting, so I missed out on Suicide Squad and BVS
it. Damn.
Batman, and Suicide Squad's the one I want. But like there are differences in each of those armors from that to Justice League, and
Mhm.
so many people love the BVS one because it has that like almost canvas like texture to it, that they really wanted to get. And there were different companies who made that suit for the films, and that's the one. Like to have that, just the suit itself is great. And then of course people want to kind
Yeah.
of bash together their Bruce Waynes, using the Justice League head. It works great with that too.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't have to sacrifice your fully articulated figure to put him. That was one of
Right.
the biggest things to me is I don't really want to sacrifice a figure to just put it in an armory and have it as an empty suit. Like
Yeah.
one of the biggest reasons why I collect is I love props and I like the story of how stuff is made for film. So I like to be able to see the item in hand and see details that I would not have seen on screen.
Hmm.
But now I can admire the actual piece itself, literally in 1/6 scale in front of me. So being able to have a suit in a display is cool, but I don't want to sacrifice a fully articulated thing to put it in a chamber. So when they said that you can just use, they're giving you a suit that you can use that's empty, I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I've been wanting.
It reminds me of
So
Hot Toys put out the Dark Knight Armory, right? And that
Yep,
was a very
it was
yes,
great.
I have it
popular.
up here actually.
Yeah, I mean it's a grail piece for a lot of people. I have it. There've been bootlegs as well. They get much more affordable, but
I
it
think
came
you
with
made a review on it, and I think I watched
I
your
did.
review and I was
Yeah.
waiting for mine.
It did that same thing where it gave you a Bruce Wayne head and Bruce Wayne body in a suit, but you could use either the Dark Knight suit in the armory or have it capeless as a figure. And it always like I always was like I preferred it out of the armory because that was actually a really nice.
Yeah.
I never got a DX12, and that was a really nice Batman from the Dark Knight.
I'm with you. I was luckily gifted a DX12 as well as the Armory. I was
Oh.
gifted both by an
Wow.
amazing channel member and subscriber who goes by Bob Dylan. So I still have to say a huge thank you to Bob Dylan.
Bob
But
Dylan did that.
luckily, Bob Dylan did that. Yeah.
Wow.
You know Bob Dylan, Will.
I know all about
he's
Bob Dylan. He's a master of game show
okay.
quizzes.
Yes, he makes amazing quizzes that we often do on the live streams.
Mhm.
So he gifted me the Armory and the DX12. So I was luckily able to display both, but I would have had an impossible time deciding which way to go between displaying the figure and displaying the suit. But that Z Studios, right? I think it's Z Studios.
I think so.
I
Yeah.
feel really bad because they sent me a sample and I don't even know the name. But I think it's Z Studios. Either way, it's awesome. It is pricey though. It is quite pricey. And some people have struggled to justify that. Trust me, the size, the weight, and the presence that it has, if you have it on pre-order and when you get it, it is worth it. I love it. It's a beautiful piece. We do have a question in the form of a super chat from one of my amazing channel members, Itu. He's also a moderator in the Facebook group. I'm actually catching your live stream live. Hey, because it's super early. Oh, 5 a.m.
Ooh, that's
wow.
dedication.
Well, I apologize that you have to listen to me at 5 o'clock in the morning. But we do have the amazing Norm and Will here to hopefully even me out. What do you all think of the Shang-Chi Hot Toys figures? Well, we do discuss this on the podcast, which will be coming up later in the week, but I don't know what Norm thinks about the Shang-Chi figures. So I'm going to hand it right over to Norm. What do you think?
I think the head sculpts are amazing. I think
Thank you.
Simu Liu, I mean, he's such a likable dude. He just did a Reddit AMA today, and like
Yep.
all the things he's been posting on social media, being so excited about, this dream's coming true, being in a big MCU film in Phase 4. I got my tickets to see it later this week, and I'm really excited. But the thing of the two figures that are announced, it's Wenwu, it's Tony Leung. That's the one that, I mean, he's an iconic actor in Hong Kong, and from my childhood growing up in the Wong Kar-wai films. I mean, it's one where I would consider even getting multiple ones, because the second, having that head sculpt to use to kit bash together for any of his past roles would be amazing. But if the production units look anything like these protos, I think they've nailed it. I think the skin texture, like it's like. I think Hot Toys still does their stuff hand sculpted for their prototypes.
Yes, still out of clay.
Yeah, and this is one of those sculpts where you can tell on the skin texture there's the stippling that's all hand done, and that's not to say like the digital modeling isn't good. That stuff can be fantastic, but there's a texture to the hand sculptedness, and it also you can sometimes tell when it's from the same sculptor too. I like that.
Yes.
Regardless of, it may not look exactly to your eye, the actor, but when I look at it like an Ahsoka from Mandalorian, and I look at, a Rey, I can tell like these all come from the same artist perspective of that character. And I really appreciate that. It doesn't need to be pitch perfect, but these are art pieces, and there's got to be an artistic interpretation there too.
Yeah, I agree with you. We discussed earlier how there's a sliding scale between looks nothing like him and looks 100% like him, and people aren't quite familiar with how to slide the scale just yet. So in a lot of the comments in the Facebook,
0 to 100.
I mean, it's 0 to 100, right? It's looks nothing like him. Also, people are like, this is the best sculpt I've ever seen. Looks 100% like him. I'm right up there with looks just like him. I've even seen the splices where they cut straight down the middle, and you see Tony Leung on one side and Wenwu on the other side. It looks just like him. So I personally can see the likeness. I think it's fantastic. I do think Simu is the better of the two. And I'm tempted to pick up a second one and kit bash a Jung from Kim's Convenience in the
okay.
Then you need to find Paul, right? You need multiple.
Yeah, there you go.
A figure for his character in Mando, and then you got to. Yeah.
Well, I am. So I've live streamed with Paul before. He's an amazing guy. He's super fun to talk to. I'm working with an artist who has already made the 3D sculpt of Paul, and it looks awesome. I'll see if I can bring it up. Actually, it looks really, really good. And he's also got an X-wing outfit, I think, done. So he's making obviously Carson Teva from The Mandalorian, but that head sculpt could very easily also work for an Appa from Kim's Convenience. I love Kim's Convenience.
See, so I gotta watch that show. I've heard such good things. It got canceled prematurely. So it got canceled so prematurely. I know everyone was upset about it. So I know.
What are you even doing here?
That and Titans. No, I've not watched Titans either yet. And Justin's giving me a hard time. He's like, you got to watch Titans immediately. So I don't know
how you haven't seen at least Kim's Convenience. Tell me you've seen Schitt's Creek.
Oh,
you've seen that show.
I've seen Schitt's Creek.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, one of your two Canadian shows. Yeah.
Not all of it, but I have seen Schitt's Creek. Yes.
What do you mean not all of it?
Well, I've seen like 5 or 7 episodes. It's not like I've watched the whole thing. Like
I'm sorry you have to sit through this, Norm.
So you might have to deal with, Norm. This is why the podcast is so much fun. But I'm with you guys. The head sculpts on these figures. I think, Norm, I said this. I think these Shang-Chi and Wenwu head sculpts are 10s out of 10s pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I think Simu Liu is perfect, and Tony Leung's is damn near.
Oh,
wow,
really good. So here we have Paul Sun-Hyung Lee as a 1/6 scale head sculpt. The texture on that beard, by the way, looks awesome. This is digitally sculpted by Zabu Creations. He's got a YouTube channel as well. So he sculpts pretty much anything and everything that he decides to sculpt. But this is the head sculpt, and then this is the work in progress on the X-wing suit.
That's really good, actually. Yeah,
pretty good.
Awesome. That's really good.
I'm pretty happy with how that is turning out. So stay tuned for updates on that. But yes, we should hopefully have an upper to go with our custom Hot Toys Jung. Now that I've said it, I feel like I have to do it.
Yeah, I think you did. You've already put it out there.
2023 when it ships.
Yeah, you got time. You got time.
Eventually, I've got heaps of time when it eventually ships. But there is something else I wanted to talk about. So we mentioned it very briefly before we went live, but there's a whole nother element of producing content and also figure photography that I know I personally don't really get to talk about very often. And it's actually how the stuff gets done. So people obviously enjoy the videos, they enjoy seeing the Instagram pics. I've been doing more creative photography when it comes to like Hot Toys blogger style photos. I only do one, which takes me ages, but it's my channel artwork. Every time a new Hot Toys figure releases, I update the banner, the channel artwork, and it's them in their environment. So I had Thanos doing the snap. Right now it's quite horrible. It's this Neon Tech thing. I'm not a huge Neon Tech fan, but
what do you think about the 4.0?
I have them here actually. This is the only one I like. So
that's I mean the Mark 50, like I like the R85 over the 50, and sort of go into a Iron Man tangent. Like my Iron Men are 37, 47, and 85,
great choices.
And
really good choice.
There's a 50 and 85 dichotomy, for the nanotech stuff, and I think 85 nailed it with the color scheme, calling back to the comic book, so much gold. I think the shoulders on 50, those wavy lines, turn off just a little bit. They look a little, but they're very Armor-esque. And I think in nanotech, that's where it really shines, though, because the color scheme, like you have the curves combined with those those 45-degree angles for the neon. And I've seen people pair that with the like the Mark 50 head, right? And I mean, that feels like a good combination,
right?
Yeah, exactly. When he's pulling that cord right in the beginning of Infinity War, no, that's a great pairing.
We've got the gray with the orange. We've got the silver. I mean, I think this is why I like it, because the other Neon Tech figures were just kind of like, yeah, it's Tron Iron Man, take it or leave it. Whereas this, I can see, okay, they've put some thought into it. It's very clearly based off the tracksuit from Infinity War. So that's why I like this one. I do have a special, I don't know where the hell the thing is actually. I need to find it. A special Toys box also made it. A Hall of Armor, but with Neon Tech lights, specifically for the 50. So it's in the same color scheme as him. So if y'all want a Hall of Armor for this guy to put alongside your Hot Toys Hall of Armors, you can get them. They are made by Toys Box. So I still actually need to review that. But yeah, this is the only Neon Tech that I like.
Yeah,
and it has the infrared stuff, so when you have the infrared light, then it really glows, and you can buy infrared lights, on Amazon, super cheap, and that's a real nice thing to mix and match with your standard spots that you have on your shelf.
Yeah, they've made a lot of
it gives it a little. They've done 4 now. I don't think they're going to stop. So, Hot Toys had a Neon Tech rave party recently.
Yeah, Norm, did you hear about that? They have raves at Hot Toys facility with all the leftover Neon Techs. They
had a DJ.
They just all hold them up with the light up features.
They were playing Avengers music. The DJ was playing Avengers themed. So it wasn't like that kind of rave. It was more, a celebration of.
It sounds like a banger. Rave. That's all I could say.
I would have liked to have gone. Our friend Ryan, friend of the channel, who goes and takes all the amazing pictures at Secret Base, he was there. He met Howard. He spoke to Howard. Howard said that apparently he's seen some of my videos. So I was like, you know what? I can die happy now. Thank you, Howard, for watching some of my videos.
He knows you exist.
Well, I met him as well 2 years ago. He actually let us in to the convention. We were press. We were there registered as press, but Hot Toys is selective. They only let press they like into their enclosed areas. And it was closed off when we were trying to get in. And the employee was like, no, you can't come in. And Howard was walking around and he was like, hey, you want to come in? And I'm like, yeah. So he let us in and he spent a good 10, 15 minutes talking to us. He even appeared on my live stream. So, apparently he remembered Ryan and he spoke to Ryan at the event. I don't know if they shared a drink. Ryan's a young lad. I don't know what the drinking age is in Hong Kong. But they had a rave together. So, they're best buds. Amazing. Let's just say that. Yeah. But I forgot what I was even talking about, to be honest with you. I went completely off topic. The photography. Right. My current banner is Neon Tech. But I do now hopefully plan to do more practical photography rather than doing it in Photoshop, because I have some more dioramas downstairs that are proper 1/6 scale. It's a full alleyway. So I haven't set it up yet, but I'm really excited to do that. Norm, can you give us a little bit of insight into your background when it comes to figure photography, and what kind of equipment you use? Because I know I personally geek out over equipment. Will knows he's been trying to convince me to upgrade everything, but so far he has not won.
Yeah, you know, equipment's. I'll start off by saying, you know, equipment's great. I'm a big gearhead, so like I'm keeping tabs on you know whatever the latest is, and I always want the latest stuff. But like one of the things I love about your channel is that you know you shot things you shoot edit on the iPhone, right? Like the behind the scenes video I think you did a while back of like showing the light box and how you record, like. The fact that you can do end-to-end production on your phone and it's at 4K 60 and it looks fantastic, and edit and upload it from there, that is just incredibly impressive. And it's one of the reasons, you know, that you can be so prolific, and that's it's just really admirable. So,
it's
you know,
quick,
for anyone listening,
it's easy.
Exactly. Like production can be like it can pile up, right? Like the more gear you have, the more like system hardware you need to support it, and it honestly can inhibit creativity or inhibit you making, you know, the kind of content if you're just doing it yourself. And you know, I'm very lucky that I work with a good team here at Tested, right? So where we do a bunch of videos, we have producers and camera people, and but at home I'm doing everything myself. So you know, I try to slim everything down to what's reasonable. So like the setup you're watching right now, that's my photo camera as well. It's my DSLR right here. So it's a Canon 5D Mark IV I got 5 years ago now. Nice. Super reliable, full frame. And yeah, I bought it for photography, but it works great for video, and it works great for video streaming. And but I also use a Panasonic GH5 as well. And one of the things I do is I have the GH5 on a monopod with a Deity shotgun mic, similar to like a Rode shotgun mic you can get. Just plug that in, and being lightweight, just being able to have a monopod and move it around and place it places, you know, around my office, close to the laser cutter, right by different angles, and like that nimbleness is so much more important to me than having a big camera that can shoot in, you know, 6K, you know, 10-bit on a tripod, because doing different setups on that, it's not only time consuming, but it's also like physically taxing too. And it really, you know, it's if you don't have a dedicated space that is a big video studio, production studio that you can lock everything down on, because I need to pack stuff away when I'm not shooting with it, and I need to, you know, deploy it quickly. Being fast and nimble, I think, is way more important. And the phones are just, you can buy a lens set for your phone too. So, you know, the iPhones are great.
Well, you got 3 out of the box on, if you get, I'm using 12 Pro Max. I got 3 lenses. I can also plug my, I plug my Yeti directly into it. So I've got still pretty good audio. I'm happy with where the visuals are, but the best part to me is the upgrade cycle. So I know that every year I will be guaranteed an upgrade of some sort, whether it's in processing power or in lens technology or in terms of the sensor. In fact, this year they apparently there may be ProRes video. So for me, that is going to be a huge upgrade. That has a massive potential for obviously not while shooting, but for editing. I can tweak so much more than I can now if I can record in ProRes. So if that happens, I'll be so happy. Please, Apple, do the ProRes.
I'm sure.
And you can, you know, while you're waiting for that to happen, you can shoot in the Pro RAW stuff, you know, and download Lightroom, and you get so much latitude in what you can do with a photo.
Absolutely.
And especially if you're, depending what your, you know, lighting settings, if you're shooting in a light box or you're shooting really just high key or just spot, right, hard spotlight, like you can just stop down a little bit, turn lights real bright, and your images are really clean. Like they're not noisy at all. And they work great on web video or just sharing on Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, when Will tried to convince me to upgrade my camera gear, I went through that same thought process. I was like, oh, okay, so I'll do the camera, and we were considering, I forget what it was. What was it, Will? It was the,
I think there was a Sony A7S
III, right?
A7S3, yeah, because I used the EOS R, and I know, Norm, you said 5D4. I used to have the 5D3. I still have that.
Yeah.
So it's a great camera. I got it for photography as well, but I forget, Justin, which one we were looking at for you.
We were looking at either the A7S3 or a Nikon, I think. Anyway, so we're like, okay, we'll do the camera. And then that means I need to do the audio. But then I can't plug the mic that I want, because I wanted to get the Shure mic. I can't plug the mic directly into the camera, so I need to get the little, what do you call that?
Like
thing?
an interface, audio interface, yeah.
Correct.
Or Zoom would work.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then plug that in, and then I need to have an SD card for that. So now I'm recording audio and video separately.
Right.
And then I would need to get a whole new setup for my tripod, because my tripod currently set up for phones, right? And then I would need to start editing in Final Cut Pro again, which I can do. But the workflow in LumaFusion is so quick on iPad Pro. I'm using M1 iPad Pro. It's like lightning. Drop the 4K files in. It takes literally 2 seconds to cut everything down, where on Final Cut Pro, it's a little bit more involved. So I started to realize that I'm what I would consider a prosumer. I'm more consumer than pro, I think, when it comes to tech. So I want to be on the easy end of pro. So I still want my end product to be as good as I could possibly get it to be, but I don't want to add complexity where I don't think I need to. So I gave up on the idea of redoing everything and redoing all my gear. And then I need to do lenses as well. So I need multiple lenses for different shots. And and then I wanted to do the electronic dolly, or you all call it a slider, I think. I wanted to get I need to get a new slider, because I've got I don't know where it is, actually. I think it's around here. I got the Rove Mobile. So I use that. It's made by Rhino, I think. I use that for when I'm filming big stuff, like I did the Queen Studios Wonder Woman bust. And on my phone, it works. It's so easy, and I love it. But I would have had to buy an entirely new one for the camera, and it would have been a lot more expensive. So I was like, okay, I put my spreadsheet together, and it ended up being like, I think, $6,000. And I was like, oh man.
You were like,
will all of this stuff provide a significant enough upgrade to the video quality that it would be worthwhile? And I just was like, you know what? Probably no. YouTube compression being what it is, yes, obviously stuff will be as clear as it possibly could if I'd upgraded lenses, etc. But I tried filming on my Olympus OMD, 10 Mark III?
EM10, APS-C sensor. Yeah.
So I filmed one video on this, and I never tried it again, because recording the audio separately, etc. It was a pain.
The other consideration is, when you buy,
there's
a lot of association with buying the expensive gear, the bigger sensors, right? Which you get like a lot of cinematic looks with like depth of field, and especially these lenses. But when you're talking about small 6 scale or even smaller stuff, the smaller sensors and the stuff for the phone is really ideal.
Make them look more real.
Flat. Yeah. You want to shoot flatter because people are watching your videos for the detail. They want to see, not necessarily the figures look like you're watching, Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, where you can't see anything in focus, right? They want to see things in focus because they want to see what the sculpt looks like. And actually, that's why the Lightbox works. And that's why, even if you had the expensive camera gear, you'd have to stop down to like f7, f8, just to make sure it wasn't that you weren't trying to, move, holding the figure like perfectly in that plane of focus.
Oh yeah, autofocus as well was another thing. I was like, is my autofocus going to be as good as the autofocus on iPhone? Probably not, because they spend a lot of time getting autofocus right. Yeah. So
you're like the ideal Apple user. You're the ideal Apple prosumer.
I am so Apple.
I'm with you too. I'm an Apple guy.
Oh, okay. Will's with me also.
Yeah, I have all Apple products. iMac right now, so.
Yeah, Will's on his new iMac. I'm on my new iMac. So the best part is I get to claim, of course, all of the Apple purchases each year on tax, because YouTube channel is a business. So that's a nice byproduct. I get to use the latest phone. I mean, the poor phones get absolutely destroyed, not in terms of physically, they look fine, but the batteries, because let's be honest, I'm recording every day, and when I'm recording 4K 60 in the highest bit rate possible, it destroys the battery. They go down to 0 in an hour, and then I fully charge it up again like multiple times per day. So by the end of it, my phone's in a year, the batteries are really horrible.
They're only rated for so many cycles, and that's why you got to be on the upgrade plan.
Correct, exactly. We don't actually have that in Australia. I wish we had
really?
that. Oh, but we don't have it here. So I have to, I buy them outright every year. Y'all have, I think they're like $1,000 in the US. The latest iPhone here, they are 2.5. So they're quite pricey.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're quite pricey down here in
Business
Australia.
expense.
But yeah, business expense. We have some super chats regarding our current topic. Nicholas, who is an amazing channel admin, very intriguing conversation. I'm always looking for ways to up my photography game. I think I've always stood by the best camera to use is the one that you have right now. Learn with that and then upgrade the gear later, because automatically people think that, oh, I'll get a new camera and then that means I'll be better. But it actually, you might find the opposite, because the complexity of something like this versus filming on iPhone, because I use Filmic Pro, so I still have to dial in exposure and ISO, etc. But compared to manually setting everything on something like this or a proper camera, it's going to take you a lot longer to learn. So start with what you have, I think, is some great advice that Norm gave. And then we'll see how you go. Don't rush out and get $5,000 worth of gear like Will was trying to make me do.
Hey, don't put that all on me.
You were enabling me with gear.
I enabled him, Norm, with statues too. So I convinced him to buy Suicide Squad Prime 1 Batman.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Yes,
Nice.
my first statue ever.
Yep.
My favorite Batman.
You can thank me later, Justin.
I haven't got it yet. I need to go pick it up. But currently in Australia, we are in a super strict lockdown in Melbourne where you can only travel within 5 kilometers of your house. So the statue is in Ocean Grove, which is like 100 kilometers from my house. But I may be eligible for a business exemption because, as I said before, the channel is a business. So I'm applying for a permit. So hopefully I can go pick the damn thing up because I really want it. Yeah, I really want it. Joey has a question. I have a Sony A6400. What lens would you recommend for Hot Toys photography? I think that's a question for you two. I have no idea when it comes to Sony lenses. The only lens experience that I have is in my Olympus, which is pretty noob level, I think.
Yeah, A6400, I believe so that's their A series, like A6000, APS-C size, E-mount lenses, I believe. They're not full frame, so you don't have to spend too much. The Sony stuff, so if you want to do like Hot Toys, like 6-scale photography, I like getting a zoom lens. So you want to get like probably a zoom lens as well as a nice fixed focal length. Zoom lens, get something in the range of like 18 to 50, I want to say, which is equivalent for full frame 2470. And that gives you a wide enough so you can do a wide shot, or tight enough that you can get like a good, tight, portrait. But if you want to just do like portraits, like some people just do portraits, some I would recommend is getting like a macro adapter. You can get those not too expensive at all. Photodiox sells them. You can find them all over online on Amazon. But search like macro lens adapter for E-mount, and basically it's like a little tube that fits between your kit lens and your sensor, and it allows you to get really close tights up. So when you see some stuff on Instagram that looks like these really shallow depth of field, like they look like large format photos of figures, it's usually with a macro lens.
Yeah, I definitely would echo that sentiment. Sony, I'm not as familiar with because I've always been a Canon guy. I've always had the 5D Mark III. I had the T3i way back to start with. I have the EOS R now, mirrorless finally. So like there are a lot of good options out there for Sony. I mean, I'm not sure what lenses would work with that. I'm sure there's some that are built specifically for that. But like Norm said, the APS-C crop sensors, usually if I remember correctly, they're like 1.5 crop, aren't they?
It's 1.5 exactly.
Yeah. So like basically whatever your focal length is, you times that by 1.5. So like an 18, like Norm said, 18 to 50 would probably be perfect. Because you don't want too wide, because you'll get that like sort of fisheye look, like if you're too wide. But Norm's right, if you get a nice wide shot, it'd be really nice. And also like they call them, like Norm was saying, prime lenses. If you get something fixed focal length, those are good too. I tend to like the zooms to give you more flexibility. They're a little more expensive, but a good something that with a little distance too might be good, so you can get that like real tight shot with some real nice bokeh in the background, a lot of blur, and a real tight shot of the portrait. That's really good too. So you give yourself a little flexibility. You probably need 2 lenses. I would think that would probably be all you need.
Yep. And I would look not just for the first party Sony stuff, but Sigma makes really good lenses. So that's SIGMA, and they'll have the equivalent for E-mount for your camera. And if you want like a really nice one, the Zeiss lenses, that's like a step up from the Sony lenses.
Nice. Some good consumer advice there. So hopefully that assists with your Sony related question. Travis John with a super chat. Thank you, Travis. Used a Canon Mark 7D in grad school, but couldn't get the hang of the nuances of film production. I'll stick with website UX design. More power to you guys. It can be easy, but I think there's a delta between it being easy and good versus still easy and great. I think iPhone is a perfect tool that will allow you to not spend too much time fussing, but still be able to produce something that looks great. Obviously, if you are using proper camera gear, it will look amazing. But currently I'm happy with where my quality is. But then again, I don't know. I don't watch my own videos. I can't stand my voice. So once I finish, I don't even when I'm editing, I miss stuff when I'm editing because I can't stand watching back my own clips. So I cut it together. I'm like, and then I just publish it. So I don't know. I don't know if it's any good.
I think most creators are like that. Most YouTube creators are like that. We don't like hearing ourselves.
I hate everything that I make. Honestly, I really dislike my own content.
You should that should be a T-shirt. Like
yeah, true. I hate everything I make.
I hate everything I make.
I will make that T-shirt. I will make that merch. But I cannot stand watching my own videos. So thank you to everyone who does enjoy watching it because it keeps me going. But I treat it as a perfect opportunity to each video improve on what I did last time. So I guess it kind of works that I don't like my own content because I always try and do something better and new. I'm also finding that filming different, more larger scale stuff is providing me with the challenge that I didn't know that I was missing. So whenever I'm filming I've done, I don't know how many videos I've done now on 1/6 scale figures, but I've got my format and I really enjoy doing it. But now that I've started doing life-size stuff like the Queen Studios Wonder Woman, that was a proper unique challenge. It took me all day to film. Lighting it was very hard because it's silicon, and trying to film silicon on camera, or I think you'll say silicone in America.
Yeah, silicone.
Trying to film silicone on camera, it looks flat if you don't light it well.
Yeah.
So it took me ages for each shot to try and do the lighting right. And I don't know. The Queen Studios guy was super nice, so he said it looked good, but
it came out.
Thank you. I was happy with how it came out, but I am finding that the more challenging stuff is more fun. Right now, I have downstairs the STK Workshop Millennium Falcon, the 1:1 scale studio filming miniature. It is huge. It is so freaking big.
That's like 30 inches, right? That's the one that was as a kit. D'Agostini made
the buildable
it in the US.
one,
yeah, I have that too. Yeah, it's beautiful.
You have it, nice. You can tell me how big it is in person.
30 inches, it's like the proper size. Yeah.
It's pretty big. Okay, I haven't opened it yet. It's been there for like 2 weeks, and then they sent me a sample. So they asked like, "Where's the video?" And I was like, "Oh, I'll do it. I promise." It's just so big. I haven't tried to film it yet. Yeah, I do have to send it back though. I don't get. By the way, most samples I do have to return because it's a super expensive thing. I don't get to keep it. For anyone watching in the chat. So anyway, I will try and film it. But
I'd love to see you review some of those 1/3 hyperreal stuff, like J&D, Korea. Yeah.
Oh, now you're speaking my language.
I mean, that. Yeah. I mean, even like the Blitzway has some 1/3 scale stuff that's amazing. Yes. They announced a great a Wonder Woman, the vintage 70s show, 70s era Wonder Woman.
Linda Carter,
Linda Carter one. But like the that one's, I believe the J&D one's all silicone as well. And I think they just put out their the golden armor one that people have started receiving.
Oh my god!
But and they've done Fleck as well. Arthur Fleck, exactly.
I'm getting the Heath Ledger, so the Heath Ledger's on pre-order for me.
I mean, that stuff sells out so quickly. So I don't know if they need the promotion, but I'd love to see your take on that if you have a chance.
I would love to. I did speak to Toys Wonderland, who's my current supplier, and they said they were trying to sort out some review samples from J&D. I don't know if that's going to happen. Fingers crossed that it does. But Queen Studios were super nice to speak to. I'm not used to being able to speak directly to someone from the company because Hot Toys is like a black box of secrecy. you don't know what's happening. You don't get to speak to anyone. They don't speak to anyone at all. It's just some super secret mystical black box, and you never get to peer inside. So I'm used to not
except when like JC
communication.
Hong retweets your stuff. Or,
Yeah,
you know.
other than that.
Except when that happens, and then you feel happy. But having the Queen Studios team reach out to me and directly speak to me and like, hey, we want to work with you. Let's figure something out. Let's make this happen. Like, I was like, wow, really? I'm speaking to people who are making this awesome stuff. So I think the statue makers are a little bit more willing to collaborate with YouTubers, I've found. So if JND and Toys Wonderland managed to work that out, I mean, yeah, I'm all for looking at more 1/3 scale stuff. Even if I have to return it and I don't get to keep it, totally fine. I just want to see it. That Harley Quinn. Harley
my
Quinn,
God, yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
All of those,
So,
dude. The Arthur Fleck and the Wonder Woman are perfection. Like those sculpts, I don't think I've ever seen maybe better sculpts than how those turned out. Like they
look,
and they're Heath
so
Ledger,
cool.
dude. That is going to be the ultimate grail piece. I cannot wait. That Heath Ledger's my guy. I mean, that's
Will is the biggest Heath Ledger Joker fan.
I mean, I have one right up there, the Queen
we
Studios
see
one.
it.
And I have the Prime One Joaquin right there. So
nice.
Also by Blitzway Norm. So incredible pieces.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to start with that Prime 1 Batman. I'm going to review that. It's old, obviously. It's older, obviously, but I've never reviewed anything in 1/3 scale before. So I'm going to give it a go. If people enjoy it, I was already reached out to by another statue company. I forget the name of the statue company, but they're making a half-scale bust, and half of it is Batman and half of it is Joker, and it looks really cool. Yeah, I forget the name of it. I'll have to look it up.
Sounds unique.
But it's super out there, and I love that. I'm all for it. So they're planning on sending me a review sample of that, and I'm super excited to see that in person. So hopefully that arrives soon. And I'm pretty sure they're partially based in Australia, I think. So it should be pretty quick. They're manufactured in China, but I think they're partially based here. Lynch Designed with a $10 super chat. Thank you so very much. Hey, Justin, Will, and Norm. Justin, can you help me do something nice for Robert Meyer Burnett? I've been a member of his channel since the beginning and would like to do something for him. Yes, I'm sure we'll sort it out. Reach out to me on Instagram and we will sort out something nice for Robert Meyer Burnett. I'm not sure if you know Rob Meyer Burnett, Norm, but he live streams with John Campier about movie stuff, and he also has his own channel, and he features on this channel sometimes. But we are here to discuss figures, and I do want to get your opinion on something that dropped 2 days ago. The Professor Hulk was released.
Yeah. It wasn't. I mean, this is like the cult of collecting, right? Like you have the things that like it's a sliding scale in your brain of what you can justify. So you go from like, oh, I know for Endgame, I'm only gonna get Cap. I'm gonna get maybe Force Mark 85. I'll maybe get Thanos. Like for me, I have like those are the ones like Battle Damage Thanos. I'm excited for, and then
he's really good, by the way. You're gonna love him.
I can't wait. And then, like a Rescue comes out and I'm like, oh, damn, that looks amazing. So I got to get Rescue. and this is exactly one of those because they redid the head sculpt, right? And it's one of those it's funny because when you talk about time zones, when the blogger photos drop, it's always like late at night here on the West Coast. And I'm like, oh, shit. Now I'm going to spend like the next hour and a half on the forums refreshing and like getting and checking out the photos and chatting with people and see how this. And this is one of those where I think the thing that's probably going to turn me off, I don't have a Hulk yet, but it's the size of it isn't as big as I'd want, because I think like if I was going to get a Hulk, I'm going to get like the Gladiator Hulk. I'm going to try to find one of those. That's probably my Grail Hulk from Ragnarok. But I love the head sculpt from this. I think the glasses are hilarious. Like that expression is great. The thing I probably like the most about it is the exploded Infinity Gauntlet. But I saw a video that it's weird that the hand attaches from the center. And
it's the hand itself. Yeah.
Is it a magnetic attachment? So
no, it'll be the exact same as Thanos, I would imagine. So you can swap out the lower part, but then you pull the hand off. So one's for the snapping gesture, one's the articulated one. So it's quite clever. I didn't know that it was coming with that exposed gauntlet. Maybe I just missed it in the initial solicitation. But is that a surprise add-in, or did I just miss that?
I looked at some of those solicit photos, and I think like for example, the little tablet he has never had an image in it in the
Yes,
so they changed
yes.
things up toward the end. I think originally it was described as having like pieces that you could add, but it looks like it's one piece for the lower exploded, and I think it's a nice surprise because that's a unique take on, you know, how you want to pose Hulk. Like I said, I know people who are gonna get it for kit bashing their own like costume, right? People love the cardigan he has. And for this one, yeah, it's if it came with like an angry expression, I'd be way more into it also just for, you know, a battle pose. So I'll probably pass on it, but I really appreciate the fact that they reworked the head sculpt, and I'm happy that people will be happy with it.
Yeah. I mean, Will and I discussed this on the podcast. Initially, when Will sent me a message, he was like, "Oh my god, it's so tiny!"
Right.
And then he later realized that he was smaller in the film. But I think for people who don't have a Hulk, I can't honestly say that this should be your only Hulk, because it's not that iconic Hulk, right? Like we have in our minds this huge hulking monster, whereas he's slightly bigger than a big 1/6 scale figure, like a little bit bigger than Darth Vader, that height, you know.
Okay, 14 inches, right, as opposed to 12.
Correct.
Yeah,
a little bit larger, obviously a little bit beefier. We also said if they had included the battle damage, like the crumpled singed arm, having that be able to swap out with the ball on the shoulder, that I think would have tipped a few more people over into buying it, because then you can have that as your final battle Hulk, because in the final battle he had his arm was all destroyed because he obviously snapped with the gauntlet. So I think this one won't be one that a lot of people pick up, and unless he does something really cool in She-Hulk, I don't think that the value of this guy is going to go up crazy over time. So you should be able to get him if you decide later on down the line that he's something that you want. Speaking of Hulk, S Beam with a super chat says, "When is your Hulk coming in? I passed on him, but I'm now thinking about getting him and customize." There we go. New outfits for him with the blue cardigan for the diner. Yeah, I would love to see what people do with this Hulk. I have a theory that the upper torso, at least, will be sculpted and painted, just like it was with Infinity War Thanos. Because if you remove his armor, his upper torso pink skin is fully sculpted and fully painted.
Wow.
So people were doing the Farmer Thanos with the t-shirt, and they had, you know, all the way down to his neck.
That's cool.
So I'm hoping that they also have done that with this guy. I'll find out when it's in hand. I'll see if I can, you know, take a peek in underneath his top shirt just to see if there is anything sculpted and painted underneath. Because I'm pretty sure people would like to... Will's face. I'm pretty sure people would like to do customized looks for him, because he had a couple of different looks in the film. The cardigan, for me, is one that I'd love to see. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
So if it does, that might tempt me to get a second one and just have faith that someone will make the cardigan for him later.
That would be cool. Yeah, I just think I think you basically hit the nail on the head, Norm. I just feel like, and Justin too, I feel like this is not, if you're gonna have one Hawk, this is not the one to have. It's a great looking figure, but I just feel like Hawk, I said this, Norm, on the podcast we just did, not to spoil it too much, but I do feel like like his most defining trait was his, you know, unhinged nature, and if you take that away, he's still interesting, but he's just not as cool or as interesting. You know, that's his like defining trait.
Now, if they did Team Suit though, then for Team Suit completionists, then
that's
thing,
true.
right?
That would be true. That's true.
That
That's
would
true.
work. That would work.
How are you going to stretch that Iron Man Team Suit? That's
there you go. There you go.
Have you seen the pics that Young Bomb did on Instagram?
Yeah.
His
Thor.
Somehow.
Yeah.
How did he do that Thor? I do not know. But somehow he managed to fit Thor. He pulled it off really well. And I assume next he'll be repainting a War Machine, probably, too.
Yeah. I've seen those repaints,
super easy to do. Everything's already done. You just need to repaint it. And then his last one to tackle will be Hulk. So we'll see how he goes. But so far he's impressed me with he did Black Widow and he did Thor, which two that I never thought was possible. He just needs to do a Nebula now. And Rocket as well will be another challenging one.
Well,
so we'll see how he goes.
That Tony Stark team suit is going for like pennies on the dollar right now. So.
I know.
Such a great buy. I mean, you get a great head sculpt with it. You get two. I mean, anytime I look at figures with that come with a mask sculpt and a bear sculpt, that's like a 2-for-1, because you know, you look at like Mysterio, they both look great. The team suit, like that's a Mark 50 head that you can use in anything else, right? Endgame cap. Basically, you're buying cap bodies that you get to have 2 caps. Spider-Man upgrade suit. Like anytime they're giving you more than one head sculpt, I'm a big fan of that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. It's great bang for your buck. It's going for a relatively low price. It's still a really high quality figure. And if you were to have one figure that represented Endgame, the whole premise of Endgame, you could do worse than Team Suit, because it literally was the means of them getting back and fixing what happened in Infinity War. So if you're a casual collector and you want one piece that says Endgame, I think you could do a lot worse than Team Suit Tony. So maybe give it a second look if you're thinking about it. We are coming up to time, though. We have about 2 minutes left in the stream. I did promise Norm that we would keep it to an hour. So we will do that, but I'm sure we will be discussing figures again in the future.
I'd love to come back, talk about more stuff. What's the best figure that you've got lately from Hot Toys that you reviewed? What's your favorite in the past, let's say past 2 months?
Mysterio, hands down, absolutely. Mysterio blew me away. That head sculpt, Jake Gyllenhaal head sculpt, was way better than I thought it was going to be based off those pics. That's why you never judge anything based off pics until you get it in hand or you see it in person. That Jake Gyllenhaal head sculpt, spot on. So I know it's a cop out, but Mysterio for me.
I gotta go.
What about you, Norm?
I love Mysterio. I think it was a super big surprise. You know, it's a villain, right? You don't see so many villains. In terms of heroes, Rey from Rise of Skywalker.
Oh yeah, Rey.
I'm a big fan of
Kylo too.
Rey, Kylo, and that's a great set too. And you know, because the movie wasn't as popular for some people, maybe those will go for more affordable prices later on. But yeah, both of those I think are great head sculpts. And I know like people like they're seamless bodies, and people get stressed out about posing them, but just be delicate. You know, don't rub the paint off, and you know, have fun with it. Right?
Yeah. Good to great advice that you've received today in the live stream. So hopefully we've with some great consumer advice throughout the stream. But it's been amazing chatting to you, Norm. Will, actually, I want to ask you before we wrap up. What is your favorite figure that you've received recently?
Oh, dude, it's got to be Mysterio. Yeah, it's got to be Mysterio. Mysterio just, it blew me away, dude. Honestly, it's one of my favorite figures in my collection. Like once I saw the first reviews, yours and others, I was like, I was excited for this figure.
Really
anyway.
good.
Super. It's really the seam on the helmet is a non-issue. Like it is not a problem that people thought it was going to be. Like, and the fact they included a head sculpt is amazing. Like, and it's going to be incredible. So, and I'm with you too, Norm. Like, I'm a big a sequel fan of the Star Wars trilogy. So, like, I really love Rey, but the recent Kylo they did, incredible. Dude, that's probably my what right there with Mysterio. That Rise of Skywalker Kylo is amazing. It's not going to be as good as Pennywise, because Norm, are you getting Pennywise, Norm?
No, I'm not getting Pennywise.
Oh, you got to get it, Norm.
No, me
seriously.
neither. It's all you, Will. Will is the only one who's ordered Pennywise. I think he's ordered a whole batch coming just for him.
I'm getting 2, Norm.
But yes, he's getting. I don't know why. Anyway, a massive thank you to you, Norm, and also to you, Will, for joining us once again on the live stream. Stay tuned. I'm sure we'll do it again. This has been an absolute blast. A massive thank you to everyone who's come and chatted with us in the chat. Also, who checked out the stream earlier that I mistakenly did. I apologize. But that's about it for this live stream. You can check out Norm on his Instagram page and also on Tested, the YouTube channel. I'll have all of that information down in the description, so definitely check it out. He's got some amazing stuff happening. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.